Hi guys, Jake Knowlton here with some natural light for the first time, and today I want to get straight into something which I find a lot of foreigners are really mistaking when they come to Japan. And this is a mistake that's not necessarily anybody's fault. It's the fault of the system, and this is something you have to be really careful about if you want to build a good career, a good life, and a good future in Japan. So we've talked before about how the salaries in Japan are not great for English teachers who have moved to Japan, and they are not looking to get any better soon. Now, we've also talked about how you can come to Japan as an English teacher and then move on to something else. Find something that fits your skills. I think this conversation might help you really think to yourself like, wow, I really need to value myself more as a person, as an employee, as a member of my family. If you break down the salary you receive from your job into an hourly pay, you might be very surprised at what you can do. Now, I'm going to do a bit of maths, which might not work out so well. So, coming to Japan as an ALT, let's imagine you work 5 hours a day, but you're not seishain, you're probably a kayak shain or part-time depending on the company that you're for. You might just not know what contract you're on. You might work 8 hours a day, but that is including the lunch break. So it's actually 7 hours of work a day. For example, if you work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or 10 to 6, you're actually working 7 hours plus a lunch break. So what that works out to, 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, 35 hours a week, maybe times that by like maybe 4 just to be on the safe side. That's 140 hours a month. Now, if you're working 8 hours a day, that's going to be 160 hours a month, which is kind of, depending on the month, you're probably going to be working a little bit more, maybe 168 or 176. Then February will go down to maybe 152. But the point is, if you're making 220,000 yen a month, imagine if you break that down to 140 hours, you are making less than 1,500 yen an hour, which works out to less than $10 an hour, which works out to less than £7 an hour, working in a foreign country despite the fact you are a professional, despite the fact that you have a university degree. Of course, living standards, living costs are different in the countries, but you cannot really justify making that little money with the experience and the skills you have. I came across a job on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is supposed to be a bit more of a professional place where they are charging they are paying 1,500 yen an hour. I'm just going to throw up the job description maybe here for a few seconds. I'm going to just move out the way, but yeah, 1,500 yen an hour to teach business English to government professionals. And part of the description says 3 years of experience teaching business English. Now, how can anybody take that job and think, I've got 3 years of teaching business English experience, and now I'm going to receive 1,500 an hour? You would only take that job out of, and I don't want to sound rude, desperation or necessity. If you were able to find something better, you would, right? Another part of the description says New Zealand, Australia, UK, US. So they're really trying to target the native English speakers, but paying them so little. To be frank, I teach English online on iTalk on the side, and I teach English to some people in the neighborhood. I charge minimum 3,000 to 4,000 yen an hour. And that's me working on my own time. And that includes me receiving drinks, or in online's case, I'm working at home, so I don't have to go anywhere. You can make double by doing less. And you've got to be able to find a way to build those customer bases, find the students, do stuff yourself to make yourself marketable and to earn more. Because at the end of the day, maybe in your early 20s, 200 to 250,000 yen a month might be pretty good. But once you get into your late 20s, or you start dating and having a serious relationship, you're getting married, you're having children, it's not going to cut it. Don't undervalue yourself just so you can have a job. Don't undervalue yourself just so you can get a visa. You should really make sure to value yourself and know what you're worth. To be honest, I actually think I'm not the best teacher in the world, and I think 4,000 yen is probably pretty good for what I offer. There's probably English teachers that should charge way more than me, and they probably are. Of course, this can apply to any industry as well, but I feel like it's really hard to justify encouraging people to work in these very low, very physically and mentally exhausting jobs. Because we know with a lot of these ALT jobs as well, you're traveling, you're going on the train. When I was an Eikaiwa teacher in Gunma, I was minimum 2 hours of trains a day. And sometimes I would be lucky and have a bicycle school, which means I could cycle there from my house. But that wasn't every week. Sometimes I would have to take the train and the lessons would finish so late, there'd be no train back. And we would have hotel schools where you would have to stay in a hotel. And if there was no hotels available, sleep in the classroom, and they would give you about 2,000 yen as like a food budget. And these are the kind of things that I really want to stress in these videos, is that Japan is a dream for many people, but don't let your dream take over the value that you put on yourself. You should really know what you're worth, what you can do. I feel like especially Americans are very like innocently arrogant, and I don't want that to sound rude, but they really seem to believe that they can do anything, even though maybe they can't. And that's actually maybe a better mindset to have than you being able to do a lot, but actually thinking that you cannot do. I was recently listening to a few podcasts with Simon Squibb, and he was talking about the biggest problem is that people just don't believe that they can do it. They just don't think it's the right time, or they don't think they can do it yet. Just do it and get moving, because it will come to you if you try. I only got my principal's job because I asked and I asked and I asked. I only managed to get my manager job in the previous school because I said, I want to give it a try. I only got to help with the opening of a preschool in my previous company because I put my hand up and said, I want to learn more. You have to really put more focus into it. I haven't made over 10 million yen a year for the past 4 years by just hoping something comes. I have to work a lot of hours. Sometimes I get very tired, but the pay is worth it at the end. With that money that I make and I save, I can retire earlier possibly, or I can treat my family more. We can go out for lunches and dinners more often. We can get better food. We can, we have our dogs, we have our home, we have our car fully paid off. You have to really put these things together. And living in the moment is great, but living for the future and yourself is much more valuable if you put your mind to it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that come to Japan and they're getting to the end of their contract renewals and they want to try being a recruiter. They want to get into engineering. They want to try being a social media marketing manager. But they're so worried that if they apply and they fail, they won't be able to renew their visa and they'll be kicked out of the country. So they do. They either renew their contract at their current company or just move to another English teaching company where they can get an easy job. The fear is something that holds us back. You know what you can do and you know what you can do. I know that in Japan, it might be harder to get some of the more, Japanese company working as a regular employee jobs, but that's where selling yourself, learning skills, making a resume, making a portfolio really matters, because Japanese people do appreciate communication. And if you can try and crack the shell, learn the language, build your schools, sell yourself, you can do anything anywhere as long as you want to. So that was just a quick video for today, guys. I just wanted to talk about how you should really be valuing yourself more. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.